A response from Dr. Larry Iamba, the Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs of the Ambazonia Governing Council, to the United Nations Secretary-General, and to Guterres regarding the UN's readiness to work with all stakeholders towards a political solution to the crisis. Dear Secretary Guterres, the Ambazonia Governing Council welcomes a statement from your office condemning serious human rights violations and abuses in the ongoing conflict between Ambazonia and Cameroon. The statement by your spokesperson, Mr. Stéphane Dujarric, read in part, "We reiterate the readiness of the UN to work with all stakeholders towards a political solution to the crisis. While we recognize this as a step in the right direction, it should be pointed out that while one life lost is one too many, the situation of violence and the ongoing war declared by President Paul Biya of Cameroon is not new, considering that Ambazonia is not a vacuum in the global order of this world." On February 14, 2020, the world witnessed the brutal killing in Garbu of 23 innocent Ambazonian civilians, including 15 children. While the world and international institutions were outraged and made public statements, nothing substantial has been done till date. UN officials who decried such a gruesome act included Special Representative for Children and Armed Conflict, Virginia Gamba; Special Representative on Sexual Violence in Conflict, Pramila Patten; Special Representative on Violence Against Children, Najat Malamijid; and Special Advisor on the Prevention of Genocide, Adama Jang. The implication of voices of UN officials reacting to global issues cannot be overemphasized, because that is the preamble upon which the United Nations was set up in the first place. That is, to save succeeding generations from the scourge of war, to reaffirm faith in fundamental human rights, in the dignity and worth of the human person, in the equal rights of men and women and of nations large and small, to establish conditions under which justice and respect for the obligations arising from treaties and other sources of international law can be maintained, and to promote social progress and better standards of life in larger freedom. The Ambazonia Governing Council wants to remind the United Nations that Ambazonians as a people and geographic expression falls under international and local responsibilities. In its COM 266/2003 ruling on the case SCAPO/SCNC against the State of Cameroon, the African Court of Human and People's Rights, a CHPR, ruled that Southern Cameroons, now called Ambazonia, are a distinct people. The ruling stated inter alia that the people of Southern Cameroons can legitimately claim to be a people. The ACHPR further noted that the people of Southern Cameroons qualify to be referred to as a people because they manifest numerous characteristics and affinities. These include a common history, linguistic, tradition, territorial connection, and political outlook. More importantly, Ambazonians identify themselves as a people with a separate and distinct identity. Identity is an innate characteristic within a people. It is up to other external people to recognize such existence, but not to deny it. For close to 6 decades, the Ambazonian people have sought for all possible solutions to this conflict both locally and internationally, to no avail. Since 2016, when a peaceful protest was met with brutal repression and a subsequent declaration of war on Ambazonia on November 30, 2017 by Paul Biya of Cameroon, the Ambazonian people have cried out more to a silent international community and system. The Ambazonia Governing Council has time and again called the invocation of the UN instrument of the responsibility to protect, given the atrocities being committed by Cameroon on the Ambazonian people. It is the responsibility of the United Nations and its affiliates and the international community to protect the Ambazonian people from the brutality of La République du Cameroun's army and proxy forces operating in Ambazonia. It is the responsibility of the occupation regime and forces, including all its proxy forces, to respect international laws and protocols governing the rules of wars. The Geneva Conventions of 1949 and subsequent protocols of 1977 are clear on the rules governing armed conflicts. The Ambazonian Governing Council and the Ambazonian Defense Forces are not a signatory to these protocols and treaties, but yet are the only party respecting same treaties and protocols. Signatories to international treaties and protocols are all in violation of the very treaties and protocols they signed. It is a shame that the Ambazonian Governing Council and the Ambazonian Defense Forces, even under such gruesome brutality, should be the one to remind and lead the occupiers, and international institutions and bodies to exercise their responsibilities under international law. Proxy forces loyal to the Yaoundé regime have been carrying out a reign of terror within the territory of Ambazonia. We know this is not without the full blessing of their instructors in Yaoundé. We are also aware that the international system is equipped with the relevant technology and intelligence to support this fact. It is irresponsible and an abdication of responsibility by the UN and the occupation regime to expect the Ambazonian Governing Council and its defense forces to control, and worse still accept responsibility for the atrocities of the occupation forces, and their proxy militias operating within Ambazonia. The Ambazonia Governing Council remains ready for the international stakeholders to recognize that the ongoing conflict between Cameroun and Ambazonia is an international issue that requires international action. We have reiterated our readiness and willingness for a political solution to the current situation. The Ambazonia Governing Council reaffirms its commitment to a negotiated settlement overseen by a credible neutral party on a neutral ground, and with a guarantor to oversee the implementation of the outcome. In conclusion, the Ambazonia Governing Council therefore calls on the UN to translate its words into action. Number 1. Requiring Cameroun to commit to a negotiated settlement under the auspices of a third party guaranteed by the UN. Number 2. Requiring Cameroun to respect international human rights law in the conflict with Ambazonia. And number 3. Ask the UN Security Council to refer Cameroun to the ICC for investigations on its crimes in Ambazonia. Accept, Mr. Secretary General, the assurances of the Ambazonia Governing Council's highest consideration. Signed, Wednesday, August 19, 2020, Dr. Larry Ayamba, the Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs of the Ambazonia Governing Council.